the directors and senior officers from the Ministry of Education. You can greet this meeting. There's somebody who has bigger shoes who will mention you by name later. The TSC directors and senior officers present, please. Greetings to this meeting. Asanteni sana, mbarikiwe. The representatives, I take note of the fact that this will be a very brief meeting. Representatives of the security agencies, the representatives of the KCSE Marking Center organizers, are they present? Mmekaribishwa, asanteni sana. It is obvious, we can see the representatives of the media houses, KICD senior officers present, please. Greet this meeting. Representatives of educational associations and unions present, tafadhali. Yes. National Youth Service, naweza kusimama na kusalimia wageni. We have right behind the media, National Youth Service. They call themselves nguvu ya serikali. Asanteni sana. Staff of the Kenya National Examinations Council, tafadhali karibisheni wageni. Yes, asante sana. We have 5 boards from Africa represented here. The CEO will introduce the delegates by name, but I just wish to inform this gathering that we have representatives, a representative from Examinations Council of Lesotho. We have a representative from Uganda National Examinations Board, UNEB. We have a representative from the Examinations Council of Zambia, ECOS. We have a representative of National Examinations Council of Tanzania, NECO. And we have a representative of South Sudan National Examinations Council. The CEO will be having the right shoes and the right powers to introduce them by name. I now wish to take this opportunity to welcome the CEO, Kenya National Examinations Council, Dr. David Njengere, to take the program from this point. Dr. Njengere.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ochich. I think we can appreciate him better. Let's appreciate Mr. Ochich. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Honorable Ezekiel Mashogu. The Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang. Principal Secretary, State Department for Technical and Vocational Education, Dr. Esther Moria. Principal Secretary, State Department for Higher Education and Research, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala. The Chairperson, NEC Council, Professor Julius Nyabundi. The TSC Secretary, Dr. Nancy Masharia. CEO, KICD, Professor Charles Ongondo, Council members, and all the other protocol that Mr. Ochich has indicated. We are glad as NEC to receive all of you as we release this KCSE 2022 examination results. And as Mr. Ochich has said, we are honored that we had representation from 5 African countries. We had Mr. Patrick Tero from Lesotho. Kindly, let's appreciate him for traveling all the way from Lesotho. We had Mrs. Josephine Othieno from Uganda National Examinations Board, karibu sana. Then we had Mr. Monga from Zambia Examinations Council. We had Mr. Emmanuel Baridi from the Examinations Council of Tanzania. And finally, and not least, we had Mr. Mading Manyok from South Sudan National Examinations Council. CS, I will make my remarks very brief because I know that the over 800,000 candidates who sat for KCSE are not so much interested in my speech. They want to hear their results. So I don't want to stand between them and their results. We all know that administration of this exam happened between 21st November to 23rd December. And we want to thank all the center managers and the field officers who did a selfless job in ensuring that we delivered all the papers to the schools on time. Through the multi-agency approach, we were able to monitor the conduct of the examination across the entire country, and the media also played a major role in reporting to us in a very objective way, while also highlighting areas of challenges which we promptly addressed. We can't thank you enough for that contribution. The marking of the KCSE commenced on the 28th of December and was successfully completed on the 18th of January. And KNEC engaged the services of 30,000 examiners in 35 marking centers. We want to acknowledge the sacrifices that were made by these examiners and the center organizers to make sure that the exercise was completed promptly to allow us to release these results today. CS, I also want to really appreciate the team that I lead from the management. These are the KNEC staff. Last year, they administered 5 exams. This is totally unprecedented in the history of this country. And these persons have worked without holidays, without weekends, and I think it's only fair that we appreciate the members of staff of KNEC. With regard to the 2023 KCPE and KCSE examinations, we want to appeal once again that registration of candidates is the first step in administering an exam. And we are going to start the process on the 1st of February to the 31st of March. So every center has 2 months in which to make sure all the candidates are registered. We want to appeal to all of you, kindly, make this easier for KNEC, because CS, unfortunately, sometimes we are told a week before the exam that there are some candidates in a certain corner of this country who are not registered. That makes it very difficult for KNEC. So we want to appeal to all of you that we are opening the portal on the 1st of February to the 31st of March. Kindly make sure that all eligible candidates are registered. It is now my humble duty to invite the chair of the KNEC Council to come and make his remarks, and thereafter invite Dr. Nancy Macharia to make her remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CEO, KNEC, Dr. David Njagere, for those very good introductory remarks. The Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Dr. Bello Kipsang, CEO, TSC, Dr. Nancy Macharia, CEO KNEC, Dr. David Njagere, KNEC Council members present, Directors from Ministry of Education, CEO of various institutions present, as well as senior officers from Ministry of Education, representatives from teachers' unions, including NAT, Kewota, and KUPPET, the Kenya Private Schools Association, and the Heads Association for Primary and Secondary Schools present, members of the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I welcome you all to this occasion of the release of the 2022 KCSE examination results. I wish to begin by introducing the NEC Council members present. NEC has a very powerful council, which the membership includes the PS Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang, who is sitting here, Dr. Nancy Macharia, TSC Secretary, Professor Charles Ongondo, Director of KCSE, Director, Minister of Education, Quality Assurance and Standards, Ms. Evelyn Ouko, if she's not there, she's there. Mr. Festus Kingori, representing Treasury, Mrs. Rosemary Saina, an independent member, Mr. Martin Okio, Professor Eric Ogur, Dr. Frederick Ochogos Porter, Colonel Leonard Owambo, Mr. Arthur Gacheru Kiragu, and of course the CEO NEC, Dr. David Jagere. This council that I've just introduced has worked tirelessly to ensure the NEC delivers on its mandate, which significantly includes this function today. I also wish to appreciate members of staff and management of KNEC and all the stakeholders who have helped in administration and delivery of these specific results, which are about to release now. I wish to appreciate the Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, for his continued support and ensuring that my team delivers on the NEC mandate. Sir, let me take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for presiding over this occasion. Most of what I would have said has been said by the CEO NEC, and therefore it's now my humble duty to invite Dr. Nancy Macharia, who is the Secretary of TSC, to come and give her remarks, and thereafter I'll invite the PS Education, Basic Education. Thank you.
In the interest of time, allow me to write on the protocols that have been observed. And so, the Education Cabinet Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start my points by thanking all the examiners for their dedication and hard work, which has made us to release these KCSE results on time. Ahead of the marking exercise, the Commission had identified and vetted over 40,000 teachers, most of whom did an exemplary job, and that's why we are here today. I urge our teachers to always be ready to serve the country and put their professionalism first when they are called upon for the marking exercise. As teachers, it is a mark of honor and respect to be identified and recommended for the examining exercise. We should therefore shun any attempts to put our interests before thousands of candidates whose future we determine through the marking exercise. Cabinet Secretary, during the COVID-19 period, the TSC made a deliberate decision not to cause disruption in schools by imposing a moratorium on making transfers, affecting many transfer of teachers. Since we have now lifted the ban, and as you know, we wanted to recoup the year, we have carried out a careful exercise of effecting 14,733 transfers, which will become effective this term. On behalf of the Commission, I can assure the country that these transfers will not affect the normal delivery of the teaching and learning programs. In the meantime, the TSC will provide guidelines on the teaching and administration of the junior secondary school as the students report shortly. As you also may be aware, we are currently recruiting 30,000 teachers. Interviews for those shortlisted are set to be concluded today, paving the way for the posting of successful teachers. It is our intention to have the new recruits join the payroll on January 30th, the same day when the junior secondary school learners will report to their respective schools. And I wish to thank all the stakeholders and the President for giving us money for this, the 30,000 teachers, which we haven't done in quite a long while. I assure the country that this process has been conducted independently and professionally while complying with the values and principles of the Constitution. As I finish, all the teachers who will be recruited in the ongoing exercise, they will be put on a retooling regime that will ensure they adequately attend to our junior secondary school learners. Already, we have trained 2,376 master trainers ahead of the retooling exercise of all the new teachers and others currently teaching in secondary schools. We target to train 90,000 teachers between now and April 2023. Lastly, I wish to inform teachers that we have enhanced their benefits under the medical insurance scheme and made it better for our teachers. I encourage teachers to take time to familiarize themselves with all the enhanced features of the scheme to ensure that they and their families make full use of it wherever they need medical services. I now wish all our teachers and learners a successful new academic calendar starting on Monday. I also wish the 2022 KCSE candidates a successful academic journey as they receive their results today. God bless you and thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to invite PS Belio.
Asante sana Nancy. The Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machoku, my colleague, Principal Secretaries, I know they have been introduced. We have Dr. Beatrice Nyangala, who takes care of, we shall be doing a ceremony shortly. We have Esther Moria, who takes care of Tibet. The Chairman of the Education Committee at the National Assembly, Honorable Julius Meli. We also are still expecting our chair for the Senate Committee on Education, Joe Nyotu. Teacher Service Commission CEO, the KNEC Chair, Dr. Njegere. Our unions who are here today, members of the media, all our stakeholders from the sector. Today I'm here not to make a speech, but to acknowledge and appreciate the good work that our officers have done. I would want to thank the stakeholders in the education sector. As already mentioned by the CEO, this is the year that we did 5 examinations, I say 4 examinations and an assessment. We were able to assess more than 4 million children. And we would want to take this opportunity to thank our teachers, to thank our parents, and to thank all the stakeholders for the good work that they have done. We would also want to acknowledge the role that the media played. It was not any other time. You know what it can be when you are handling such a huge task that affects the future of the country in terms of our children. Once again, I would want to affirm to the stakeholders in the sector that now we have reverted back to our normal calendar. Our children will be opening the schools on Monday. I would want to give an assurance that the necessary resources that is supposed to be released by government is ready and will be with the schools in terms of capitation. And on Monday, the continuing students will be opening. On 30th, we shall have our junior secondary. On 8th, we shall have our Form 1s going to school. The CS and all of us, we have been guided on capitation of junior secondary, and the CS will go into detail on that. But as I end, I would want to thank my colleagues, the PS for Internal Security and National Administration, Raymond Omolo and Engineer Tanui, in the Ministry of ICT for the support that they gave us at the technical level. And it has only been possible because of delivering as one in government. The CS will also mention at some point on the rapid response initiative that we are all aware, which we've been carrying around the country. And at this point also, I would want to thank the media team, because where they were called upon to accompany our officers to see the environment in which we are going to go into as we go to junior secondary, you are available to accompany our teams to these schools so that we can all as Kenyans appreciate that we are going into new areas. And as we go into new areas, all of us know that they could be and there may be challenges, and we would want to work together towards ensuring that this journey is a success. At this juncture, before I invite the Cabinet Secretary, I would want to invite my colleague teacher, Honorable Julius Melly, who is the Chair for Education and Research Committee at the National Assembly, and who is a critical owner of this process that we are doing as the Chair of the Education Committee. Karibu Mheshimiwa.
Thank you. The Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, all protocols observed, and the Examination Council present. Good morning. First of all, let me commend the students and the teachers for the examinations well done. I think as we released this morning, we are releasing an exam that was done by students who gave their time, who gave their energy, and even the teachers who took the students through the process for quite a long time, that is 4 years. Two, I also want to commend the Examination Council, especially on the fanfare, that the exams now are actually not a do or die. That every child who will get results today, whether he gets a D+, whether he gets an A, that is a Kenyan who has a place in the society. And as we move forward, I want to also say that as a country, we really need to come out very clearly on where we are going to place each and every person who has done an exam. Now we'll get the A students, we'll get the B student, we'll get the E student. All these students are going to have a place. And I want to say that this is the time when we will need to look into other areas, more so the areas of TVET. And I know the PS is here. Majority of us, we need to tell these students that they have a place to go. And now, as the country, we are moving into CBC. CBC, as you all know, is competency-based. It is not now meritocracy, where we are saying who got 1, who got 2. We want to see the skills. We want to see what one can do and earn a living. So I want to say that as a country, we are going to assist the Minister of Education, more so Waziri, to make sure that you succeed. And the only way you will succeed is to ensure that every child, whether in grade 7, 8, and 9, or in Form 1, 2, 3, and 4, has a place to do in the society. Lastly, I also want to say that we saw in the media when we had issues of examiners complaining. Maybe this is the time to look into their welfare and to look out what is actually happening in those examination centers, so that they will also mark and feel happy and feel part and parcel of this particular country. So with those very few remarks, I want to wish everyone who will get results well. I want to tell the students that whether you will get a C, whether you will get a D, whether you will get an A, you are all equal and you can make your life better depending on what you do yourselves with. Thank you so much and God bless you. Asante.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa. It's now my humble duty and pleasure to invite the Cabinet Secretary to address the nation and be able to do that which he must do today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, PS, the Chairman of the Education Committee and Research, Mheshimiwa Julius Mary, my Principal Secretary is present here, the Principal Secretary for PESIC, Dr. Perio Kipsang, Principal Secretary for TVET, Esther Moharia, and the Principal Secretary, Higher Education and Research, Beatrice Nyangara, the Chairman of KNEC, the Chairman, the Teacher Service Commission CEO, KNEC CEO, and the members of the Council, members of the press, and all officers present here. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for assembling here this morning for this exercise of releasing the 2022 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education Examination results. We have found it wise to release the results early to allow our 881,416 candidates who concluded the examinations on the eve of Christmas Day on December 23rd, 2022 to join various higher learning institutions to pursue careers as the year 2023 begins. This creditable achievement in the marking process couldn't have been possible here if a number of people did not sacrifice, and of course a number who worked hard, thousands of teachers who became heroes in the process, many of whom applied, many of whom had to forego the festive season activities to report to the 35 marking centers. I wish to thank them and really to celebrate these teachers and the hundreds of security personnel officers and the Kenya National Examination Council officers who put all their hands on the deck to ensure a speedy conclusion of the marking process. The timely conclusion of the marking process is indeed a confirmation that the Council is always prepared to defy any challenge to ensure the exercise is not interrupted. I have in mind the hiccup that was recorded at one of the centers where a few examination officials threatened to derail the exercise. KNEC was, however, able to respond with an unfettered precision that ensured a seamless progression of the exercise. On this note, I wish to urge all professionals who are usually engaged in national exercises like participating in the administration of national examinations to put the interest of the nation first and look at the merits of engaging in certain activities that could otherwise plunge the lives of our youngsters into irredeemable turmoil. But again, at this point, I want to assure our examiners that they did a commendable job in all the centers. Of course, this was a very small hiccup that we did encounter, and going forward, we are very much concerned, Honorable Chairman of the Committee of Education, that their welfare and indeed even their remuneration will be improved as we move forward. Today marks the end of a 2-month holiday for our basic education learners. On Monday, schools will open for the first time of the year as we finally mark the start of our traditional regular calendar year. On this, I wish to thank all stakeholders, including teachers and parents, who battled all the bottlenecks that were laid on our academic roads by the COVID-19. Thanks to God the Almighty, we have successfully regained our school terms. Undoubtedly, this recovery puts our education sector on a comfortable gradient upon which to deliver on the many reforms lined up under the Kenya Kwanza Education Charter. The new wave of education reforms currently underway are hinged on the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on education reforms that was formed by His Excellency President Samuel Ruto. The foremost offshoot of the first interim report of the Presidential Working Party on education reforms was the domiciling of the junior secondary school education in existing primary schools as directed by President William Ruto. Since then, the ministry has moved to provide interim guidelines on the junior secondary school education, including the announcement I made this week that grade 7 runners will report their respective schools on January 30th, 2023. Additionally, I also announced that the government will spend 9.6 billion on capitation grants to runners of junior secondary school for term 1 and term 2 of 2023, with each of them receiving an individual capitation of 15,000 per year. In the next financial year, the government will spend 18 billion for the junior secondary school runners capitation grants. Further to this, I now wish to state that of the 15,000 that will be released for each runner, 4,000 will be spent on the development of infrastructure, with the greatest priority being on reparatories. And here I want to assure Kenyans that indeed we are working very closely with members of parliament and chairman of the Committee on Education. I want to thank you for the initiative you have taken, such that as we give the 4,000 out of the 15,000 for building reparatories, I'm aware that members of parliament will also be able to set aside money out of CDF so that we are able to embark and ensure that we put up reparatories. I'm also happy that going forward, probably by next week, we will be able to make an announcement, because we are negotiating with the World Bank, where they will be able to give us some funds to put up about 7,000 also reparatories countrywide, such that as far as infrastructure is concerned, we will be ready to go. Further to the guidelines I announced last week, I wish to announce that the President this morning accepted the ministry's interim guidelines, including the following. The Board of Management of a primary school that domiciles the junior secondary school will constitute a special subcommittee to spearhead the management of education and the resources of the school. The head of the primary school that domiciles the junior secondary school will serve as a secretary, while the chairperson will be a member of the committee. All private junior secondary schools will establish and operationalize board of management, boards of directors, or boards of trustees in accordance with Section 52A of the Basic Education Act 2013. A public junior secondary school will be headed by the head teacher of the public primary school that domiciles it during the interim period of the transition ending December 30th, 2023. The Ministry of Education has re-engineered the National Education Management Information System, commonly known as NEMIS, in readiness for enhancement of management of education data. Registration of runners in NEMIS will form the basis for disbursement of funds to public junior secondary schools, and I want to repeat that anybody who is not captured in NEMIS will not be able to be a beneficiary of the capitation funds, so the head teachers have to ensure that as runners are reporting to schools, they are properly captured in NEMIS. Textbooks and hard copies of the grade 7 curriculum designs will be made available for all schools. That one, we are making sure that all the required textbooks will be delivered the first week as the schools open on 30th. KNEC will provide guidelines on the conduct of assessments at the junior secondary school, because as you are aware, we have formative and the normative. Formative now forming about 60%, and this will be a continuous process, and we are happy that what KNEC has done so far, there are instruments which are quite objective in measuring the continuous assessment in our junior secondary school. The infrastructure and the resources of existing primary schools will be utilized by by the respective domiciled junior secondary school in the interim 1 year of transition. This applies to special needs junior secondary school as well. The Ministry of Education, through the Kenya Education Management Institute, has developed a curriculum and training materials to build the capacity of education managers, including junior secondary school management boards and school heads, on governance and accountability in the leadership of junior secondary school. The curriculum will also apply during the induction of the school heads on institutional and instructional leadership. Comprehensive guidelines will be issued to schools in a circular to be released by my ministry next week. These guidelines have been validated by stakeholders to spell out the general provisions to be adopted by institutions, organizations, and stakeholders in order to fast-track operationalization of junior secondary school across the 1-year transitional period. The guidelines are interim while awaiting the full report of the Presidential Working Party, which is expected towards the end of March. I wish to thank my cabinet colleagues, Professor Kithure Kindiki and Honorable Owaro, who head the Ministry of Interior and Administration of National Government and ICT respectively, for working with the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders to ensure success in the administration of the KCSE examination of 2022. Most of you by now know that President William Samoei Ruto is a firm believer of the TVET education. I therefore wish to urge all the stakeholders in this sector to rise up and be counted as we institute far-reaching reforms in the sector as could be recommended by the Presidential Working Party. My Principal Secretary for TVET and the semi-autonomous agencies in my ministry, including the Kenya National Qualification Authority and the Kenya universities and the colleges, Central Placement Service, must prepare to work to ensure that the agenda of TVET remains robust and able to spur the economy of Kenya through the production of a well-trained youth. I therefore direct the Kenya universities and the colleges Central Placement Service to move with speed and establish the number of places available in our universities, colleges, and the TVET institutions to enable the immediate commencement of the placement exercise. And as I'm going to say shortly, the numbers that we have this year for university, I think all our public universities will be able to get enough students as well as our private universities. And we also have a good number that our TVET institutions will be able to admit. The placement service should also engage with the higher education regulatory boards, Commission for University Education, and the Technical and Vocational Education and the Training Authority to ensure that all running institutions are prepared to enroll new students. This is in line with the Ministry of Education's goal of providing fair and balanced access to quality and relevant higher education and the training and the government policy of 100% transition. I also wish to announce that the government is keen to ensure that the credibility and authenticity of qualifications and certificates that we get from our education and training institutions remain of a high quality. To that end, we have developed a system for articulation, classification, registration, and accreditation and quality assurance of national qualifications. I hereby directed the Kenya National Qualification Authority to ensure that the national qualification framework is fully implemented, as this will ensure and enhance the quality, relevance, and authenticity of qualifications, not just locally but globally. This will also promote portability of our qualifications and the mobility of labor. So far as you know, our education standards in the region and even globally are among the best as it can be compared with others. Finally, on this point, I declare that all the candidates who sat the KCSE examination in 2022 have already avenues to progress to other levels of education, as we seek to leave no runner behind in career development. All these candidates have a destiny, and the government is determined to clear the path for them to reach that destiny. As I have already stated, 881,416 candidates sat the 2022 KCSE examinations, compared with 826,807 candidates in 2021. This represented an increase of 54,609 candidates, that being 6.60%. Of the total number of candidates that sat the 2022 KCSE examination, 443,644 were male, while 437,772 were female, representing 50.33% and 49.69% of the total candidature, respectively. This statistic means the country has achieved gender parity in much the same way as we have done at the primary school level. 14 counties had more male than female candidates in the 2022 KCSE examination, compared to 17 counties in 2021. These were Mombasa, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, Turkana, Samburu, West Pokot, Kajiado, Narok, Homa Bay, Migori, Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. 17 counties with high gender disparity in favor of female candidates during the 2022 KCSE examinations included Kirinyaga, Kiambu, Kitui, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Vihiga, and Kisumu. In the 2022 KCSE examination, 17 subjects recorded a significant improvement in performance, compared with 11 subjects that recorded a significant improvement in performance in 2021. There was no significant change in performance in 4 of the subjects over during the 2022 KCSE examination. There were 1,146, making 0.13% candidates who obtained an overall A grade in the 2022 examinations, compared with 1,138, which was 0.14% candidates in 2021. On the other hand, the number of candidates with minimum university entry qualification of grade C plus and above has risen to 173,345, forming 19.03% in the year 2022 KCSE examination, compared to 145,776, which was 17.55% in 2021. The number of candidates with mean grade D plus and above in the 2022 KCSE examination is 522,588, which is 59.14%, compared with 442,251, which was 53.29% in 2021. Encouragingly, the number of candidates obtaining a mean grade of E declined significantly to 30,822, which is only 3.49%, despite the increase in candidature, compared with 46,151, which was 5.56% in 2022. This clearly leads us to conclude that most of the candidates scored grades of higher quality. Most significantly, all the remaining candidates are eligible to join TVET institutions, teacher training colleges, medical training colleges, and other tertiary learning institutions for various courses. The breakdown for the various grades is as follows. A. Female, we have 271 getting an A. Male, we have 875. A minus, 1,962 female. Male, 4,445. P plus, we have female, 6,104. Male, 9,578. B grade, female, 13,520. Male, 17,783. P minus, 21,474. That is female. Male, 27,245. C plus, we have 33,138 female, while male, we have 36,950, which means that the male in this particular category have done better, and I hope going forward the female will also be able to improve so that at least we have some kind of balance. C, female, we have 49,191. Male, we have 45,963. In this particular one, female have done better than their male counterparts. C minus, again, female 62,599, male 56,469. Again here, female have done better than men. D plus, we have female 70,238. Male, we have 64,783. Again here, female have done better than male. D, we have 79,935 female, 75,545 male. D minus, we have female 84,075, male 83,683. E, female, we have 12,760, male 18,062. There were 190 candidates, that is 8.80% with special needs, who obtained an overall grade C plus and above in the 2022 KCSE examination. Candidates will correct their results from their respective examination centers. Individual candidate results can also be accessed by sending a candidate's index number followed by the initials KCSE through a short message service SMS to number 20076. I repeat again, you write KCSE and then your index number, and then you send it to number 20076, and you will be able to access your result of the KCSE examination immediately after this. It is now my humble duty and privilege to declare the 2022 KCSE examination results officially released. I wish all the candidates success in their future endeavor. Thank you, and God bless you. Now, yes. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
The other side.
Members of the media, in case anybody with one question, I normally like an interactive process, but because from here again, I'm moving to West Pokot for a function, can we have only one question in case there is? Only one.
My name is Francis Ode from GOtv. I just wanted to highlight if there were malpractices and cases of cheating. What are you going to do about those results?
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to report and very happy about it. When we were preparing for this exam this year, we did come up with a mechanism, and the mechanism that we came up with that was that accountability was transferred to the personal level, such that as we were giving a brief to all those who were concerned with the administration of the exam at the headquarters in South Sea, we said the center manager will be personally accountable if any irregularities were discovered. And then we also designed a form for the security personnel to be able to sign confirming that all went well, or in case of anything that never went on well, during that particular day, they were to indicate that probably there was something that never went well, including the supervisors and invigilators. And what we did, changing the system a little bit, I'm happy to report that we really did not experience the kind of cheating, the kind of malpractices that we used to get there before. So I want to thank the Kenya National Examination Council and those who were concerned, all those who were concerned in the administration of the exam, because so far it went on very well. We also got a partnership. We worked very closely with the ICT ministry, so that anybody who was trying to use technology in any kind of cheating, we were able to discover that in good time. So we never experienced the kind of experience we used to get there before. No numbers for now. No numbers. So.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. The program is tight, as indicated, and I will now invite Madam Imelda Baraza to make an announcement and vote of thanks in 3 sentences. Karibu, Director.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to take the shortest time possible. Allow me to thank each one of you for gracing our occasion. And allow me to also thank you for availing yourselves whenever we call you within a short time.
Yeah, like you see, these are the fabrics we use for the sofas. Yeah, there are different types of fabrics. Sabak.
This is the best way to go. Eat color, eat raw, you know, like this is alive.
Well, 2022 is behind us. 2023 is here with us. What are your plans? We here at TV47's Morning Cafe have great plans for you. We're talking about information, we're talking about entertainment, we're talking about the greatness for the year. So make sure that you're always with us every morning.
Kwa muonekano wao hauwezi ukajua waliopitia. Kwa sura zao zinapong'aa, hauwezi ukafahamu changamoto zao. Nyuma yao ipo stori na historia. Katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi, tunakupa nafasi kuweza kuwafahamu kila siku ya Alhamisi kuanzia saa 1:30 kuendelea. Nami Elizabeth Mutu.
Health matters, and Body Garage is here to guide you on it.
Someone's, after using the medication, the virus number of the HIV in someone's body will start to go.
My medication, wherever I go, I must make sure I'm committed to my medication. Yes, and I should watch what I'm eating. I should not just eat from everywhere or not just eat anything.
We talk mental, physical, and spiritual health. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Lover of farming? Well, Kilimo Diaries is your home for different farming ventures, crops, animals, and so much more. Every Sunday, with a new year comes endless possibilities, and as we continue to tell the stories of those abled differently, do make sure to join us on Beyond the Limit every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
It's a new year, and with the new year, it means new business ideas, new trends in the market, and new tips to make your current business even better.
Giving an option for a customer to have unsecured financing enables them to get the product today without putting any collateral down.
And we here on The Grind, we will be at the forefront to keep you in the loop every Monday at 8:30 p.m.
Here, like you see, these are the fabrics we use for the sofas. Yeah, there are different types of fabrics. Sabak.
It is the best way to go. Eat color, eat raw, you know, like this is alive.
Well, 2022 is behind us. 2023.
Na mtazamaji, ni tarehe 20 mwezi wa Januari mwaka 2023, siku ambayo muda mfupi waziri wa elimu Profesa Ezekiel Machogu amezindua matokeo ya KCSE mwaka wa 2022. Ni mojawapo ya swala ambalo litakuwa linabuni baadhi tu ya mazungumzo ambayo tutakuwa nayo hapa studioni, lakini kwa sasa mtazamaji, wacha nikuarifu tu baadhi ya taarifa kuu ambazo tutakuwa tunazidi kufuatilia. Mojawapo ni kwamba waziri wa elimu Ezekiel Machogu tayari amezindua matokeo ya KCSE mwaka wa 2022. Waziri wa elimu Ezekiel Machogu amezindua matokeo ya KCSE mwaka wa 2022. Kumbuka Machogu ametoa matokeo ya mtihani akiwa katika baraza la mitihani hapa jijini Nairobi, pamoja na mkurugenzi mkuu wa TSC Nancy Masharia, pamoja na washikadau wengine katika sekta ya elimu. Na mbali na taarifa hiyo, pia vile vile taarifa nyingine ambayo tutakuwa tunazidi kufuatilia ni kwamba usimamizi wa hospitali ya Texas utakuwa unahamasisha umma kuhusiana na ugonjwa wa saratani, na wanawake katika kaunti ya Bungoma walalama kuhusu dhulma za kijinsia. Wanawake katika kaunti ya Bungoma walalama kuhusu dhulma za kijinsia. Ni baadhi tu ya taarifa ambazo tutakuwa tunazidi kufuatilia mchana kutwa katika chumba chetu cha habari. Na mbali na taarifa hizo mtazamaji, nitakuwa nimefanya dhihaka iwapo nitakosa kukufunza mawili matatu kuhusiana na maisha ya kila siku. Hebu tupate methali. Now starting, mwalimu.
Methali ya leo: safari ndefu huanza kwa hatua moja.
Maana ya nje: mwisho wa safari ndefu hufikiwa kwa kuanza na hatua moja.
Maana yake: jambo kubwa huanza kwa udogo wake.
Matumizi: hutumiwa kurejelea ufanisi mkubwa wa mtu ulioanzia kwa hatua ndogo.
Methali yenye maana sawa na hii ni mwanzo wa ngoma ni lele.
Na mtazamaji, ni matumaini yangu kwamba umejifunza mawili matatu kuhusiana na maisha ya kila siku. Mie ni mtangazaji wako Paul Kirobi, kama nilivyokuwa nimekuarifu kwamba hapa studioni tayari mgeni ameshafika, anafahamika kama Victor Wanga ambaye ni mwalimu katika shule ya upili ya State House Girls. Karibu sana Victor Wanga kwenye studio za TV47.
Asante Paul.
Na bila shaka swala hapa ambalo limeibuka asubuhi ya leo, wengi hawakukuwa nadhani kwamba waziri Ezekiel Machogu atatoa matokeo ya mtihani wa KCSE. Sijui kama ulikuwa na taarifa hiyo?
Actually, allow me to speak English. But it was quite abrupt. And it was very short. It was very brief release, and that's why I also came late. I also expect to be very brief here, so as to also go and do analysis for our resource in school. Yeah, but I think it came in good time before the schools open, which is a plus, so that at least when schools reopen, you know, this is how we have performed the previous year. And so you give it a thumbs up. It's good. It's been released. We expected it not to be released this week, owing to what happened in some of the examination marking centers, like what happened in Mangu, where the examiners had to leave the station, and others had to come in. But so far so good. I think KNEC have done well, and I want to commend the examiners who burned the midnight oil to have this done. It's quite commendable. Hongera kwao.
Naam, wamefanya kazi nzuri. Mtihani wa kitaifa KCSE mwaka 2022 ulifanywa kati ya Novemba na Disemba. Ni mwezi mmoja tu tuseme. Yes. Ukilinganisha na miaka za awali, wanafunzi walikuwa wanafanya mtihani kwa mwezi 2 ama 3 hata.
I think the duration for the exams remains the same. Japokuwa you can just be talking about the period when it has been done. Yeah, I don't think it's been squeezed. It's only that the candidates, like what I knew are the Form 4 candidates, had a very short stay in Form 4 because of the corona pandemic and many other things that happened. So there are candidates who have not been in school for long, especially for the Form 4 and Form 3. Yes.
Ukiangalia katika wale watainiwa ambao walikalia mtihani wa KCSE 884,263 884,263 learners ambao walikalia mtihani wa KCSE. Na ukilinganisha na hizo miaka za awali, unahisi kwamba hili swala la 100% transition kidogo imechangia kupunguka ama kuongezeka?
No, there's an improvement because if you look at the 2022 candidates and the 2021 candidates, these are the 2022 candidates. Yeah, there's been an improvement from 800 and you said it's supposed to be
884,000.
884,000, and the previous year it was less. As per for what the CS Machogu has told us, there's been an improvement, and at the same time we've seen a bit of gender parity. There are more girls doing exams, more females. That is 50.33 female and 49.67 male. So it means that we're still okay, but the transition, I think, is good. We expect at least 1 million in future, because if you find the people or the students who are doing KCP, they are over 1 million. But the ones who are exiting at KCSE are now less than 1 million. Where do the 200 or 300 and over candidates, 300,000 candidates go? So it's still one thing that the government really need to check and counter check. And I think with the NEMIS and all that, it can really be a way of identifying where did candidates so and so land.
Naam, bila shaka tutarudi na hilo swala, tuangazie hii idadi ya 200,000 imepotelea wapi, na je mfumo mpya wa CBC utafanikisha zoezi mzima, na je kutakuwa na improvement katika sekta ya elimu aswa wakati ambapo wameidhinisha mfumo huu mpya wa CBC au la. Lakini kwa sasa wacha tuungane na mwandishi wetu wa habari Sharon Baranga ambaye yuko katika jumba la mitihani. Sharon Baranga, kama unanipata kwa njia iliyo safi zaidi, hebu tuarifu tu kwa mapana na marefu kuhusiana na hotuba yake Ezekiel Machogu, na ni kipi ambacho Wakenya wengi walikuwa wanatarajia asubuhi ya leo?
Leo tunakujia mbashara katika majengo ya mtihani hapa mjini Nairobi, mahali ambapo Waziri wa Elimu Ezekiel Machogu ametangaza matokeo ya mtihani wa kitaifa wa KCSE hapa, na kulingana naye, kama ningegusia tu kidogo hapo alipokuwa akimaliza hotuba yake, alisema kuwa mwaka huu hawajapokea visa vya udanganyifu katika mtihani wa kitaifa, na hivyo wanafunzi wote ambao waliofanya mtihani huo watapokea matokeo yao. Wanafunzi hao walikuwa zaidi ya 1,800 waliofanya mtihani huo wa KCSE wa mwaka 2022, na kati yao wanafunzi 1,146 walipata alama ya A. Nao wanafunzi, na hii ikilinganishwa mwaka uliopita, mwaka wa 2021 tulikuwa tuna wanafunzi 1,138, na hii ni kuonyesha kuwa wanafunzi mwaka huu walifanya vyema zaidi ikilinganishwa na wanafunzi wa mwaka uliopita. Wanafunzi waliopata alama ya C+ and above, ambayo ni grade ambayo itawawezesha kujiunga na vyuo vikuu, walikuwa ni 1,173,345, na ikilinganishwa na mwaka uliopita ambapo wanafunzi 1,145,776 walipata alama ya C+ na juu kuendelea. Nao wanafunzi waliopata alama ya E, nitasema tu kwa kifupi, ilipunguka ikilinganishwa na mwaka uliopita. Hii tena inaonyesha kuwa wanafunzi hawa waliofanya mtihani wa mwaka uliopita walifanya vyema. Mwaka huu wanafunzi waliopata grade ya E ni wanafunzi 30,822, na mwaka uliopita walikuwa wanafunzi 46,151. Ni hayo tu kwa kifupi, ambapo baadhi ya matangazo ambayo yalitolewa hapa na wadau katika sekta elimu kuhusiana na matokeo ya KCSE. Kwako Kirobi.
Naam, asante sana Sharon Mbaranga kwa kutuarifu kwa kifupi tu kuhusiana na hotuba yake Ezekiel Machogu, na ni wanafunzi wapi ambao wamefanya vyema katika mtihani wa mwaka 2022. Tunarejea hapa studioni naye mwalimu Victor Wanga kutoka shule ya upili ya State House Girls. Victor Wanga, kuhusiana na kile ambacho mwanahabari wetu Sharon Mbaranga ametaja pale kuhusiana na swala la wizi wa mitihani. Wizi wa mitihani umepungua. Nini haswa ambayo ilikuwa inachangia hizo miaka zingine? Wizi wa mitihani ulikuwa umesambaa sana.
Okay, I think I would say it's commendable if the irregularities in examinations have reduced. But probably I would have to know if it was 0 or if there was a number, hata kama zimepungua, and the strategies that I think the government has put in place and even KNEC has been working, that proper monitoring, field activities where the officers could go to examination centers, and you'll find the gates of schools open when examinations are being done, so that they can just come in and find if there was any irregularity can be found. And at the same time, I think there's a lot of proper intelligence in terms of monitoring of examination, which is commendable. You know, we cannot talk of a society where we take it normal that even if you steal, because I've heard of some phrase going on where people just keep on saying, akiiba mbona hukuiba. We really have to have nothing like that in our society. If we really want to bring an upright society, let a student who gets an A be an A that is fully earned by that student. Let it not be an A that this student goes to do medicine or engineering course, they are unable to, they struggle and end up dropping. So I would really say that it should continue. So more proper monitoring should be done, just not only in schools, but even during the examination, and at the same time, the intense way of monitoring that. And you see, all that is in the hand of teachers. So I commend teachers for the good work that they have done, because they're the ones who toil with the little pay they get, for the little refund for their fare that they get as they monitor those exams. I would say that they did a good job to have that exam administered and released in good time.
Yes. Lakini swala la wizi wa mitihani nadhani kitambo kidogo kuna zile shule ambazo ni shule kubwa zinafahamika sana kama Starehe na shule zingine ambazo kidogo imekuwa ikichukua wanafunzi ambao wanafanya vyema katika shule za upili, shule za sekondari, shule za msingi, kisha baadaye wanajiunga na shule za upili. Tofauti kubwa haswa ya wanafunzi hao ambao wamejiunga na shule za upili na shule za msingi katika shule ambazo bado zinaonekana bado havija kuwa. Unahisi kwamba hili swala la uteuzi wa wanafunzi ama kuchukuliwa kwa wanafunzi kujiunga na shule yoyote kidogo imesaidia ama bado haijasaidia? Kwa sababu ukiangalia selection katika shule za upili, kuna zile shule ambazo zinajulikana na kuna shule ambazo hazijulikani. Selection imekuwa namna gani?
When KCPE results were released, a number of students had good grades, but fortunately or unfortunately, what we've had is that at times you find students are being selected for the schools that they did not even apply for. But as well, you find the schools which have very good entry behaviors, where the 400 and over marks are dominating one school. It's not easy to compare such a school with another secondary school that has just admitted between 150 marks and 250. So I think that's why probably the CS2 do not release results as per the ranking. So every school will know this is our main grade. That is somehow trying to equalize the society, where the disadvantaged students and even the students who have gone to those schools, the Alliance Boys, the Nairobi School, the Nanyukis, the Starehe and others, we could be able to say that these students are treated the same. But I expected him to tell us that a student from a day school or even students from some of these low-end schools, how they perform. And to also give analysis, I don't know whether it was given this year, to say that this student had, let's say, 200 marks in primary. And now by the time they are doing KCSE, this is what they have achieved. You know, it gives us picture of what's happening. So I think the result really needed to have come out widely. Maybe it will come out in KNEC analysis, but should have been told this is how performance has been, just like they had a breakdown of the females who had A-plane were 271 and the males who had A-plane were 875. We needed even to have known who could be some of these best students. And where do they come from? So they're trying to run away from that, I think, just to prepare us for the CBC, which is not for ranking and all that, but as well, we still have this with us today. The society, in a society, you have to rank people, because you can't tell me that a student who has gotten an E can be admitted to go and do medicine. There's that clustering at the university where you have to know this is the ability of this student is at this level. So a lot of things as we move on, we'll be able to learn as a society. I know there's a lot of confusion of things which are going on, like the CBC and all that. How is it going to be examined? Students did exams expecting results, then they were told that one will just be used for by schools to just check how they have progressed, when students were made to do exams and they were very anxious about it. So a lot of comparative analysis will have to be done so as to marry the two systems. Because you can't tell me that you don't want to rank in primary, you don't want to rank in secondary, then when it reaches university, you are going to rank these students. These ones to go and take medicine, this one to go to the vets and all that. Even that grading E up to A is itself ranking. So the reality is that we may not run away from. But all in all, when we talk about a society, I think examinations should be given the kind of attention that has been given, and I commend the previous CS, the former CS Magoha and the Matiang'i. They laid a foundation that I think a society is now, we are now gearing towards having a a very competitive and clean society in terms of examination, and I hope our able CS Mashogu will be able to emulate that and move it to the next level. Yeah.
Kumekuwa na hili swala la, na ni kisa ambacho kimeripotiwa hivi majuzi na mmoja wa waandishi wetu wa habari kwamba mwanafunzi ambaye alichagua Kenya High alijipata kitu katika shule ya Pangani. Sijui visa kama hivyo, kama walimu katika shule zenyu mnaipokea namna gani?
It is very true. Even me, I had my son who never applied for Nanyuki High. And ameitwa Nanyuki High. So I was wondering what happened when a student makes a choice. And then you end up being told, or a student who does exam in Western Kenya and is being admitted to a school in Coast. Look at the time span this student will take. Move from Kisumu to Nairobi, Nairobi to Coast. This time, can't we look at a way through which we can give parents easy time depending on where a student has done exam? So as long as we want to admit them everywhere. There was even a scenario of a boy, a girl, being placed to join a boys' school. I have that SMS here, I'll give you. In one of the schools, a girl who did not apply to join one of the boys' school in Nairobi has been admitted to a boys' school, and she's a girl, and that's a boy-only school. So that system needs to be looked at so as to make it. Error is to human, but we really need to look at it, because when a student is doing exam, we are able to know this is a female. How can a female find herself in a boys' school? So that placement really need to be looked at, and we hope that it will be well, and it should be possible for a student to join the school of their choice as per their qualification, but not just being thrown anywhere where you might not even be able to trace where the school is. Yeah.
Kuna hili swala ambalo ulikuwa umetaja hapo awali kuhusiana na ranking ya wale wanafunzi. Unahisi kwamba hii ndio imechangia kudhoofika ama kuharibika kwa society?
You see, ranking was taken like it's the only way people are able to market their school, that our school is ranked the best, and now these other schools feel like they are not the best. But what would be the aspect of not ranking? Because today, if I mark my students' papers, I'll be able to know this one has got 100, this one has got 10%. That is ranking. And it should clearly come out that this is the best student in this class and this is the last student in this class. That's ranking. And now, even with the grades, grade A up to grade E, that is ranking. But now we don't want it to come out that these students have been ranked. They have been ranked, obviously they have been ranked. Every school will have to know their mean score.
Bila shaka.
But now the government do not want to have it come out that this particular school has got a mean of this and that. Probably we'll have to relook at them and see, where do we go? Where are we heading to? Are we just doing things for PR? And at the end of the day, we have to rank these students. From the ranking here, a student who has got an A has got a higher possibility of landing for a course in medicine, engineering, and other courses. And the one who has gotten an E can go for the certificates and the related courses that will not require much of the intelligence handling of the course, like things that require physical work, things like probably hospitality, cleaning, and the rest. So what I would also try to probably bring it out is that whether a student has gotten an E or an A, all these students are ours.
Bila shaka.
Let the parents handle them well. Let them be encouraged that that's not the end of the world. You'll find even the students who have D+ and below, they might be more successful in the society than even the A students. Because they will start somewhere, start joining entrepreneurship or start related stuff, farming and all that. They might even end up being the employers of the students who got A+. So I would encourage the society to really just accept, encourage these students, let them not be discouraged, let them not feel like they're not part of everything. So the parents have got a role to play. Even as teachers, we have just to encourage them so as to know that they are part and parcel of us. We require all of them, the A students and the E students, the plumbing work, the electricians and others. The architecture who has gotten an A plane will need the foreman who has gotten another grade, and will need the people who are going to do the actual building. So the society has got a place for all of us. So would encourage them just to be accepted. Yeah.
Hapo awali ulikuwa umetaja pia swala la mwanafunzi ambaye amefanya vibaya katika shule ya msingi and end up performing well akiwa kwenye secondary school. Na ukasema kwamba ni vyema kama iwapo Wizara ya Elimu itaangazia hili swala na kusema kwamba huyu mwanafunzi alifanya hivi lakini alipomaliza akafanya vyema zaidi.
Yeah, I think that would be important so as to also encourage those schools that are the Harambee schools that have just been started, we still do not have the name, to know that they can as well produce.
Bila shaka.
Yeah, you can find the environment that this student was in while in primary is different from the environment where they're in secondary school. There are places whereby they were affected by conflicts, the COVID, or even other things. Like there were parts where there was a lot of conflicts during the examination time. Do you expect such a student to perform as well as somebody else who was in a very peaceful environment, everything available? So the society, however much we may want to think that everything is the same at every point of the country, is never like that. That's why we are I'm really encouraging the government to really come up with ways to ensure this equality, where there's where a child of a poor man should get that education that a child of a rich family can get. Of course, the capitation and all others that are being put, but that might not still be enough. Is it, can we have a strategy whereby we can have free primary, free secondary, and even free university education? That will really help advance our society, because the moment you have them enough manpower and people who are learned, they'll be challenged to come up with new, innovative ways of coming up with products that can be able to uplift our society. Because what happens is that back in 1990s, we never had even the digital TVs.
Bila shaka.
But now today, as a presenter, you are able to, courtesy of the teachers who taught you, isn't it?
Sure.
No matter what background or where you came from, you can now be heard by everyone, both the rich and the poor. But now, I think let's just continue to move on, and I would encourage the government to really have more and more investment towards education. Let's have more and better remuneration for teachers. Let them be well motivated to be able to change the society, because it's actually the hand of teachers. It's a teacher who made me a teacher. It's a teacher who made you where you are. It's a teacher who made our president. So the teachers in our society really need to be
empowered.
Especially at this time when the inflation rate and all others are really digging into the pocket of each and every Kenyan. We really need to look at it, how are we going to manage things. And so with the political stability and better economic growth, we hope that the government should consider that education remains the cornerstone and the power of this society. In the Eastern Africa, Kenya is ranked among the highest countries with skilled manpower, and that should be sustained by us educating our society. And we need to have proper education structure where there's very little confusion. Because I was wondering about the junior secondary, if the 30,000 teachers who have been employed, one is being posted to a primary school, and I'm wondering how the one will manage alone. What's going to be happening? There's still a lot of things that needs to come out.
Bila shaka ndo swali ambalo pia vile nilikuwa nataka kukuuliza mwalimu, kuhusiana na hili swala la junior secondary school. Nimesikia wakitaja pale kwamba TSC tayari imetoa mafunzo kwa walimu 90,000 kufikia mwezi Aprili. Sijui kama walimu hao watatosha katika kuendesha shughuli nzima ya junior secondary school ambayo imebaki chini ya siku 10 hivi.
Yeah, now that it has been domiciled in primary school.
Naam.
And I do hope that the grade 6 teachers are already prepared for the CBC. That continuation, having the teachers who are handling grade 6 going to grade 7, as you bring more of the teachers coming in, could be a way of managing it. Because actually, what the government did is to domicile the junior secondary in primary, because there was the facilities in secondary school. You'll find that one unit or one room has been built in secondary school, and you want to admit hundreds of them. It would have not been enough. But now, the manpower planning and how things are going to be, how is it going to be? So a lot of things need to really move very fast to reduce this confusion. Because
katika hotuba hiyo Ezekiel Machogu amezungumzia swala la junior secondary na mabadiliko katika sekta ya elimu. Unahisi kwamba ameguzia kwa mapana na marefu, walimu wameelewa ni kipi ambacho anazungumzia, ama bado anafaa kufafanua zaidi?
Yes.
Hotuba imekuwa fupi sana.
It was a brief one. Unfortunately, I came in when it was almost ending. But what I believe in is that the proper planning for the junior secondary school, a lot needs to be done still. A lot of it. As a parent, I feel it. My son is going to grade 7. Being told you need to buy new uniforms, you need to do this and that. I'm wondering what next after that? There's a allocation of 15,000 where the government is saying there will be no school fee, but when you look at it on the ground, things are different. It's quite a different, whatever you're finding in schools is very different. Maybe parents are being told that these classes are not enough. So the government really need to check that, is this junior secondary school going to be a lighter project to the parents and even teachers, or is going to add more burden to the already burdened parents? So a lot needs to be done for it to pick up in a straight way, that is in a proper way. One, the teachers who are handling grade 6 may need to be moved to handle grade 7 as you continue to add more teachers to that. And then at the same time, you don't expect the new subjects that have been brought in to be fully taught by these teachers who are in grade 6. So a lot of things may not pick up, especially the first year. The pioneer class of the junior secondary school might be affected a bit because of the confusions that were coming in. Remember, the previous government wanted it to be domiciled in secondary school. The new government came and said, let it be in primary school, which is also okay because of the infrastructure that was not available in the secondary school. But now the manpower and all that is going to be done. Because if in case it was taken to secondary school, already there are teachers who have been aligned to those specific subjects. What about now when it is in primary? Would a primary school teacher who was handling probably science come and handle a given area like a language subject, indigenous education, or even computer studies and all that? So a lot of things will have to be looked at and see if it works for the better of the grade 7 pupils.
Kwa hiyo unahisi kwamba serikali haijajitayarisha vilivyo katika junior secondary school, ama ni mwelekeo upi ambao serikali unafaa ichukue?
As per my from my judgment, this is a very personal opinion, is that we are not yet 70%. Let's wait for the manpower and recruitment that is being done by the Teacher Service Commission.
Lakini mwisho wa siku ni mwanafunzi ambaye anaumia pamoja na walimu kwa sababu miundo misingi jinsi ya
that is why I'm suggesting that when these students go back, if it's on 30th or whichever day they are going back, they go to grade 7. The grade 6 teachers who had been trained to handle CBC may not struggle so much, because when you are saying that only one teacher is going to be posted by using the current recruitment to those primary schools, this one teacher cannot handle like a school of 5 streams. This one teacher cannot handle all of them. So there's still going to be a lot of input where primary school teachers will have to get into grade 7 classes to be able to help solve the challenges, because we cannot have our children go to school and no one teaches them. Yeah, so it's one thing that really needs to be looked at. As the government puts things in place, let the primary school infrastructure be used to handle grade 7 as they move on. Yes.
Katika shule labda ambayo unatoka hali iko namna gani katika the junior secondary school 7, 8 and 9?
That is the primary school or the secondary school. You know me, I'm in secondary school, the State House Girls, where we only have students from Form 1 to Form 4. But from what I had looked at, the preparation and the infrastructure to admit grade 7 was not sufficient. Which, as per, I mean, up to that point, I commend the government for domiciling the junior secondary in primary. But as well primary, do we have the laboratories? Do we have all those other things? If it is computer studies, do we have all that will be required for the junior secondary classes? Do we have the teachers who will be handling those specific subjects? So let's wait for what the Teacher Service Commission will come up with and the government, so as to make this work. Let it be looked at in a serious way, and it needs to be something that is checked in the most urgent and immediate way that it requires.
Kabla hatujaingilia katika masuala ya kalenda ya elimu, kwa sababu waziri amekuwa akisema kwamba mwaka huu, mwaka 2023 ndio mashule yote yataweza kuzingatia kalenda ya elimu ambayo ilikuwepo kabla ya ujio wa corona. Tukiangazia hili swala la walimu kutumwa sehemu mbalimbali, unahisi kwamba serikali imeangazia maslahi ya walimu ama bado kuna kibarua kigumu?
The fate of the teachers still remain a nightmare. You remember when there were complaints about teachers who are marking at Mangu, St. Francis Mangu, people were marking, is it one of the CRE papers? You know, we expected at least some proper way to have them be heard, and some proper way of having a way of to help them. Would it be the same way that you're handling marking for 10 years ago, the same way you want to handle it today, where inflation rate and everything has taken up?
It has gone up.
It's gone up, and people are struggling to make, to really even take care of themselves. So we have to look at it. Our society must seriously take a very decisive action to put teachers above the rest. Societies that are successful in the education system, teachers are valued. Teachers are well remunerated. So as to have the teachers dedicate their time towards the education of the students in school. So as we pay more to other sectors, I know there is a reform to increase the salary of the police.
Bila shaka.
What about the teacher?
True.
Yes, police will offer security. But if we teachers do not teach those pupils well, there will be more insecurity. Yeah, so let us look at it. I really believe that a lot still needs to be done to check the
maslahi ya walimu.
Yeah, maslahi ya walimu.
Kuna wale walimu ambao huwa wanatolewa sehemu moja wanatuma kwingine, tuseme maeneo ya Garissa.
The delocalized teachers or what?
Naam.
Yeah, it's also one thing that I think is being solved, because I think the Education Committee in Parliament had already come in, and I think the Teacher Service Commission is doing something. You know, we need to make life better. True. You take a teacher somewhere, separate him or her from the family. Life becomes expensive. This teacher is paying rent both sides. The salary is not adequate. Let employment not be a way of probably disconnecting families, but bring them together, let them live a life that is better. And at the same time, why can't the government also prioritize that? They are doing affordable housing. Prioritize something, some product for the teacher. Build some in schools so that teachers have sufficient houses in those schools. that would also improve the education. They'll be dedicated to do more and more. But now, like, let's say a teacher who teaches at Kenya High or State House Girls, that surrounding, no teacher can afford rent. Yeah, because the rent there is actually over 100 and over 1,000. House allowance could be less than 20,000 or even less than 30,000. You expect that teacher to live to the high end of the eastlands of Nairobi. This teacher will have to commute to be there early in the morning in school. This
around
teacher,
8 a.m.
Around 8 a.m. Or if there was work that probably this teacher may want to handle with the students very early, he or she has to leave that side. And that time, matatu may not be there. Maybe a taxi, or this teacher fueling car and using 1,000 one way to be able to fuel this car to reach the workplace in good time. So let us really be sensitive to the plight of teachers in Kenya today. Yes, that's my plea. Yeah.
Kuna hili swala la kuhusiana na kalenda. Kalenda ya shule itakuwa inarejea katika hali ilivyokuwa before corona. Na ukiangalia wanafunzi ambao wamekuwa wakifanya mtihani katika matokeo haya ambayo yametolewa, imesemekana wanafunzi wamefanya vyema zaidi. Je, unahisi kwamba muda mfupi wa masomo ndio umechangia wanafunzi kufanya vyema na walimu kujifunga kibwebwe na kujikaza, kujituma zaidi katika kufundisha
What I can tell you is that the last 2 years has been a very stressful time for teachers. They really had to work extra to be able to cover the syllabus within the short time that was there for them to cover it. And at the same time, there was a lot of strain on students, where you have to cover very short, you have to cover a given part of coursework within a very short time. So even though there's been that improvement in performance, but it came through the great effort of the great teachers of Kenya. True. And I would just say these teachers are great. They matter a lot.
Ila hali serikali inakosa kuangalia.
Yes, let them look at the fate of these teachers. If it's about promotion, can the promotion be automatic, so as to have these teachers also feel like they are part and parcel of what's going on? Other than saying some are not promoted, teachers are really languishing in this country. Let us just relook at the fate of the teacher in the society. Without them, there would be no proper education system. Without them, there would be no proper examination system. Without them, the society is doomed.
True.
Yes.
Kuna hili swala la shule za bweni kupigwa marufuku. Sijui unaliona namna gani?
I left at that. I think I would say whoever brought that probably wanted us to have dialogue so as to be able to discuss how is it possible. Because you can't say that we don't have boarding schools. Well, there are some students that where they come from, even that those houses may not be available. Their villages are being raided all the time. These are students that could get better education when they are in boarding schools. Yeah? So we can't say that we can do away with boarding schools as such. Unless we are in a society where everyone drives, everyone can be able to afford food at home. The students that it is actually the school that they take the 3 meals. While at home, they can just take 1 meal. And they end up getting into other activities. Look at that child in the slum of Korogocho or Kibra somewhere, where if it rains, that house can even be swept away. That student can perform far much better if they are in boarding schools than if he was a day scholar and his books have been swept away or the house was raided into. So not anytime soon are we going to do away with the boarding schools. That is my judgment. We have to have the hybrid system where we have those who are willing to be day scholars to be day scholars, those who are willing to be boarders to be boarders. And that takes us back again to the teachers. These teachers who are offering extra service even at night to be with these students. Are we looking at them? They're taking care of other people's children. They're actually parents to many. As the parents sleep there at home, these teachers are there up to late into the night to make sure that these students are safe. So there's a lot and a great role played by the teachers in the society today. And let everything being done, even planning and budgeting, be geared towards improving the life of the Kenyan teacher. Yes.
Kwa hiyo unahisi kwamba baadhi ya hatua ambayo serikali inachukua mara mingi inakosa kuwahusisha walimu ama inahusisha kwa sababu kuna washikadau walimu ambao hata ukiangalia katika mtaala wa CBC kulikuwa na ile jopo kazi ambayo lilikuwa limebuniwa kuangalia mtaala mpya wa CBC na ikakuja na recommendations zake kwa serikali. Kwa hiyo baadhi ya mapendekezo ambayo serikali inatoa na mwelekeo inakosa kuwahusisha walimu vilivyo. Katika shule za msingi na shule za sekondari.
Yes, there might be the input of the teacher leadership and the teacher employer, but I think more and more engagement needs to be there. Peter Tabichi, one of the secondary school teachers, and other teachers were in that. We hope they represented the plight of the teachers, but a bit more. Let us have more of stakeholders engagement input in this, and then the teachers play greater role than anyone else. Next week will be handed over to the students, will be handed over to us. We have to take care of them, teach them, talk to them, do guidance and counseling. For the next few months they go back, a few weeks they are there. So the period between age 13, 14 up to 18, all this behavior and even the characters of these Kenyans are molded and mentored by teachers. So if we want to look at the character of a society, let us see who are these people who are contributing much towards molding these characters. How do we make them delighted and happy and satisfied to be able to do this? That is my look at it. And if you compare some of the best education systems, maybe in Europe, Canada, and even America, teachers have got that value. So ningependa, I would really want to urge every stakeholder, even the media industry, let us look at what are can we come up with analysis and some research and have the reality of what's going on.
The gaps,
so as to be able to fill them. Yeah, let us not just say we are going to do this. We have a new education system. This new education system, who are the people going to implement them? What's going to happen? What does it require to make it work? That is my plea. My prayer is that the society will look at what works and what will not work.
Yes. Are we in the right trajectory as compared to the previous ministry in the education sector?
I won't say. I won't probably say that things are bad. There are reforms that are coming in, but we need to have more of it geared towards the education sector, so that this result that is released here represents what the reality of what is in our society. But so far I can say that back to the results that were released there, the 173,345 is commendable, because actually a number of them will now join the universities. There's a time when we had very few students enrolled in the universities. The spaces were available and no students are there. So I think our exams are already picking up to fill the gap when the reforms in examination came in, so that at least at the end of the day we be able to utilize the resources that we have. And that's why I go back to the point that I said before. Leaving an empty class in primary school, going to congest secondary school where the infrastructure is not there, was actually not the not the best. And I think that is commendable with the new administration. Now, the infrastructure that will support the schools in primary school, I mean the junior secondary school, is what needs to be put in place in a way that is not a burden to the parents. Yes.
Lakini sasa ukiangalia pia katika mtaala wa CBC pia wazazi watahusika pakubwa kwa sababu ya hii hatua ya kuondoa shule za bweni. Na sijui unaona namna gani hilo swala, kwa sababu wazazi pia watahusika. Kuna mambo kadha wa kadha ambayo walimu wanafanya, wanamtuma mtoto afanye pale nyumbani na mzazi wake.
Definitely. The CBC is really meant to have parents occupied, but already there's an outcry from the same parents that we are really so much being engaged in the education of our pupils or the children. Mimi, from my perspective, is that yes, we are doing away with 844, but we might find ourselves in the near future really marrying a lot from 844. It was an education system that really produced many, and in fact the economic growth that has taken place since the beginning of 844 to date, we have some of the best brains produced out of 844 working across the world. And so as we bring the CBC might still borrow a lot from the 844. You know, when you are trying a new curriculum, there are ups and downs that you will find where you say, oh, hapa tufanye hii. That's why when the previous regime was talking about let's take it to high school, it was realized that this high school is not going to sustain. You can't take the children to learn under trees, then you leave empty classrooms in primary. So that's why it was said, let them continue. And probably because they're talking about grade 7, 8, and 9 to be in junior secondary. What will happen when now grade 9, that is in primary, and the classes have not been built? So we might have to move grade 9 now to secondary schools. And that will still complete the circuit of having grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 in secondary school. And so we'll just be back to this 844 system, because you won't tell me that there'll be empty classrooms in secondary school and you want to congest primary school or build more classrooms here. So we might have to come up with an examination for placement in grade 9. In grade 9 in grade 8 to place them in grade 9 now in the secondary schools. So we'll have to look at it. It has to be really looked at in an open way and see what is possible, what's working and what's not working.
What is not working. Yeah. Kumalizia tu katika uchanganuzi wa mtihani huu wa KCSE, pendekezo lako ni lipi kwa Wizara ya Elimu?
What I can suggest is that the examination administration that is being done by the teachers, some improvement needs to be done in terms of what you are paying the teachers. And at the same time, let's not make the environment of marking too hostile to these great Kenyans who are molding characters for the future. Then we need to look at it. Yes, I say there's ranking because there's grade A that we've been given and grade E, that is a way of ranking. I know the bigger picture of ranking it according to schools and where this student, the best student has come from. They want you, the media people, to be the one to research on. But they can make it easier just by releasing it there. Because these people are going to be ranked and placed as per their ability to the universities and colleges. So we might not have to rule out ranking. Otherwise, I think even if I come for an interview in a panel, we'll have to be ranked. You look at my certificate. What did you get? What did you do? What is your qualification? That's ranking.
True.
So
let's kuwe na ranking.
Let ranking still be there. Let the education system be open for all the stakeholders to give their input. Let's give value to what the key stakeholders in education so as to be able to make a change that our society requires.
Naam, asante sana Victor Wanga kutoka shule ya upili ya State House Girls. Asante sana kwa kufika kwenye studio za TV47 na kufanya uchanganuzi wa kina zaidi kuhusiana na matokeo haya pamoja na pendekezo katika sekta ya elimu na ni jinsi gani serikali inaweza kuwapiga jeki walimu ili kuhakikisha kwamba wanatoa huduma bora kwa wanafunzi. Mtazamaji, kufikia hapo mimi sina la ziada, muda umekimbia zaidi, karibu inafika saa 6. Asante sana, tunazidi kufuatilia matokeo hayo.